Welcome to ACE Engineering Academy. So today I'm here to share some important questions based on programming language concept, where I will discuss numerical answer type questions and multiple select questions. Okay. So the name of this program, we are calling it as a GATE 2026 Score Booster Series. Okay. So the subject which I'm going to handle here is programming languages course. Okay. You know, programming language is not a separate subject; is a part of the data structures. So data structures, the first part is called programming in C. Even though they mentioned the programming in C, generally they are asking questions from principles of programming languages like static scoping, dynamic scoping, parameter passing techniques. These questions they usually ask in pseudocode based. So therefore, don't restrict your study up to only C programming. You need to extend up to pseudocode level. That's the reason we are calling it the principles of programming languages. Okay. So when it comes to weightage point of view, we can expect a minimum 5 marks and maximum 6 marks. Data structures and programming together, sometimes they are going up to 11 to 13 marks range. Okay. So today I'm handling programming course. So let me see the important topics in programming languages. Okay. So generally programming language questions, if you observe PYQ questions starting from 1987 to up to 2025 papers. Okay. So just observe questions pattern. Most of the questions, like we are categorizing questions into different categories. The first one is general questions. General questions. Actually, these general questions completely based on mathematics concepts. Okay, mathematics concept. For example, if you see PYQ questions, you can understand one time they ask question based on expansion of e power x, means they have written the program. They're asking what does the above program will return. They provide options like log x, e power x, cos x, sin x, like that. Okay. So therefore, general questions basically we can say mathematical based concepts. Okay. Mathematical based concept questions. For example, student must have idea about the series like what is the expansion of e power x, what is the expansion of log x. Okay. And also he must understand how to compute GCD of two numbers, right? So one time they asked the question is Euclidean division algorithm. Euclidean division algorithm, like for example, Euclidean division algorithm is nothing but if you consider something number is 9, if you are going to divide with 6, okay, of course let me take this number is dividing one time, right? The remainder is equals to 3 here, right? Okay. So therefore this number 9 we are writing it as 9 is equals to 1 times of 6 plus 3. This generally it is known as Euclidean division algorithm. Okay. For example, if you take it is something like x value, okay, and 6 is taking y times here, therefore you can call it as something like q. You can call it as y into q. This is called remainder or value. Okay. So based on this Euclidean division algorithm, they asked 2 times in the GATE paper, 2013 paper and 2017 paper. Okay. So for this type of questions, Euclidean division algorithm and then e power x and log x, one time they ask convolution questions also. Okay. So these type of questions you need to practice. So these questions you can answer only if you have strong background in mathematics. Okay. And the second type of questions which they are asking frequently, the second type, that is called storage classes. Storage classes. You know, we are having 4 types of storage classes, like static storage class, auto storage class, register, and then external storage class. So nowadays, if you observe recent year GATE questions, they are combining these topics with recursion topic. They are not only focusing on the concept of static or concept of external or concept of auto or register variable. They are combining this topic with the recursion topics. Sometimes they are combining the loops also. So therefore, while preparing questions based on static, auto and register and extern, you need to combine this topic with the control statements. Control statement means like while doing preparation, you have to analyze yourself. Are you really preparing this topic by mixing with other topics? For example, if you want to read static variable concept, you need to take with respect to while loop concept, like while something like x greater than 0. Okay, so inside while loop, how static variable is keep on updating. So these type of questions I already explained in the class. You have to focus on that point. See, practicing more number of questions is not required here if you understand the pattern of asking questions. Okay, generally if you observe PYQ questions, all static variable questions, auto variable questions, either they are combined with the while loop, okay, or they may use the conditional operator. They may use the conditional operator here. In the conditional operator also, suppose the condition is true, we are executing one statement, return something plus something. Okay, if the condition is false, immediately we are using another return statement. This kind of structure also student must understand. Okay, means if the condition true, we have to execute first return statement. The moment if you have return statement, control will go back to the previous stage without continuing the remaining part of the program, right? Here else is not required here, friends. Okay, so this kind of structure you need to understand before practicing more programs. Better you need to understand this kind of structures. If you use my notes, all models covered in detail in the class notes. Okay, so while loop based questions, and then control statements like conditional statement. Sometimes they're asking for loop also, like for example, one time they ask question, there is a for loop, increment operator, so initialization, let it be I equals to 1, and afterwards I less than or equal to something like 5, and then I plus plus, right? Generally we are having for loop like that. But nowadays what they're asking, they want to check the knowledge about all the concepts. Okay, therefore they're not simply asking for loop like that. Okay, let me explain how they are asking questions. They're combining multi concepts, friends. Okay, not a single concept, they're combining multi concepts. Here they're defining one function, let it be f is a function, right? Inside this function they are defining one static variable, static int something like num is equals to 5. Afterwards they are returning the value of num, return num minus minus. Since you are returning num value, therefore it is integer type, we can take like return type is integer. See, if you observe this function, I am not asking to by heart the program, just understand the structure of asking question, friends. Okay, this program consisting of static variable, right? Static variable. Here from the main function, do you know how they are calling? Like main function, the main function, there is a for loop. Generally students might have practiced for loop with respect to variables like I equals to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus like that. Okay, but here they are introducing concept like within for loop they are calling function, within for loop they are calling function. So these type of models student must practice compulsory. Okay, so afterwards they are using printf statement. Within printf statement also they are calling one more time that function like this. Okay, so finally what I'm trying to say, while doing revision of storage classes, don't by heart like what is storage class characteristics, what are the characteristics of auto variable, what are the characteristics of register variable, like that. You need to focus at whether am I covering all basic concepts while studying storage classes or not. For example, storage classes including if condition, storage class including while loop condition, storage class including for loop conditions, right? Storage class including recursion concept. Remember, if you open your class notes, you can find all these model question, friends. Okay, like storage classes with recursion, storage classes with loop condition, it may be while loop or for loop, or storage classes may be conditional statement. Sometimes storage class they are using control statement like switch statement also. So until unless if you don't practice this kind of basics, you cannot answer storage class questions. I remembered one time they combined the storage class concept with logical and operator and right shift operator also. Okay, one time they asked this question like right shift operator and then logical and operator combined with the storage classes. Okay, therefore what I'm trying to advise you, before reading storage classes you go through the basics, complete basics first. Okay, afterwards you can start the practice storage class, friends. Okay, that is second topic, storage classes. I hope this 1 hour session, whatever I'm going to explain, every point is important. If possible, you can take the notes also. You might have already prepared programming language course multiple times. Okay, but the way how I'm explaining now, this is the most important, the final revision for you, friends. Okay, after reading storage classes, then you can go for another topic is called pointers. Pointers. So I can say this is the most important topic. You can expect minimum 2 marks and maximum 3 marks. minimum 2 marks, maximum 3 marks. Just refer class notes. We spend almost 18 hours to 20 hours to complete the pointers. In pointers, most of the questions, friends, they are basically focusing on while declaring pointer to one-dimensional array. One-dimensional array. In today class, I am taking this type of problems only. One-dimensional array means student must understand how to pass one-dimensional array base address to the calling function. For example, if you consider there is a main function, inside main function you declared an array something like int a of 5 is equals to 10, 20, 30, 40 and then 50. You declared an array like this. Okay. Then how you are going to pass this base address of the array? Therefore, you are calling function f by passing simply array name and list the number of elements. So here they are testing whether student is having idea about array name is passing base address of the array or not. So after passing in the called function, they are also verifying how student is able to understanding a plus 1 comma n minus 1 operations like this. Means the moment if you use plus 1, is it really arithmetic addition operation or pointer addition operation? So they are completely testing basic idea about the how pointer arithmetic is happening in this question. Okay. Not only that, it is taking recursion concept also. Function keep on calling. See, the concept is simply pointer to one-dimensional array, but internally it is calling recursion topic, and internally you need to understand how pointer is moving from one location to another location. In today, I am going to practice this type of questions in this session, friends. Okay, I am going a little bit fast, because this is only 1 hour session. I want to cover more number of questions. Okay. And after taking pointer to one-dimensional array, the next you need to understand how to make pointer to two-dimensional array and how to make pointer to three-dimensional array. Okay, one-dimensional array and then two-dimensional array. Of course, we can also call three-dimensional array. In the recent year, they are focusing on three-dimensional array, friends. Okay, if you refer 2018, 19, 20 papers, they are mainly focusing on three-dimensional array. Okay, and the next important topics in pointers, I can suggest you that is nothing but pointer to string concept. Pointed to string concept. So while they're asking pointer to string concept, if you observe PYQ questions, they're not only focusing on pointer to string, they're also testing whether student is having standard string library functions or not. Standard string library function means in the class I explained how strlen function is operating, right? Strlen. So as a student, your responsibility is you need to collect complete information about standard string library functions. You have to practice them. Is it clear, friends? Okay. And also you have to understand how to pass string constant. Okay, in this today class I will discuss one question, how to pass string constant, because string constant is nothing but you are passing base address of the string constant, right? Okay, how to pass string constant and how to access string constant data, right? There are many questions are there based on the pointer to string concept. Okay, I can suggest you this is the first priority and it is second priority. So after that I can take like array of pointers, it is also important. Array of pointers, and then pointer to pointer is also important. Pointer to pointers, because you have only 1 month time. So if you have time, you can go through pointer to structures. Okay, because in pointer to structures they hardly ask 3 times in the gate paper, and many questions came from pointer to string and pointer to one-dimensional array, two-dimensional and three-dimensional array. Okay, so apart from this topic, you can go through the pointer to structures concept and pointer to function concept also. Okay, so that is third topic. And fourth topic, if you use the class notes in a sequence way, you can easily answer many questions by combining multiple topics in a single question, right? I can say fourth topic, that is equals to static scope and dynamic scope. Static scope and dynamic scope. While studying static scope and dynamic scope, you have to combine this topic, the parameter passing techniques. You have 2 types of parameter passing techniques. One is call by value, another one is call by reference. Okay, generally static scope concept we are using call by value mechanism, right? And dynamic scope concept we are using call by reference mechanism. In the class, we practice individually, like first we discuss call by value followed by call by reference. Afterwards, I explain static scope and dynamic scope. I solved very few questions by combining these two topics, okay? But you need to focus on these topics also, friends, okay? Apart from these topics, you need to prepare a recursion topic also, okay? Anyway, recursion topic we'll discuss in data structures. That is the reason I'm not writing that one, okay? So these are the important areas where you need to focus. Especially where students are getting problem means answering general questions like e power x, log x, GCD, and then we can say Euclidean division algorithm, okay? Euclidean division algorithm. So these are standard algorithm, friends, okay? You need to practice all these things, right? Yeah, let me start with the first question. This is called general type question. As I mentioned, there are the general questions which are mathematical based concepts questions, right? Okay, so therefore I have taken one question which is general questions. You take exactly 1 or 2 minutes. You try first, afterwards I'll explain, friends, okay? Just you can try, afterwards I'll explain. Just focus on and try. If you get any confusion about the while loop and everything, I'll explain. So this while loop is ended here itself only, okay? This statement t is equals to t by 10, it is a separate statement, friends. Separate statement. Because of space constraint, we have written like this. And this while loop is begin here, okay? So that while loop will be ended at this place. See, starting from here and ending here. This while loop, okay? So after completion of this one, we are returning the value is called new num. And this is a closing brace for the gate function, okay? For the gate function, this is a closing brace. So you need to understand that this t equal to t by 10, it is outside of this while loop. Means this is only one statement which is related to while loop, friends. After completion of while loop, then only we can evaluate t is equals to t by 10, right? Then we are applying this while loop, and you need to understand how it is working and tell me what is the written value for this program, okay? Please focus more. You have another 1.5 minute time to evaluate this question. If you are unable to find the answer, at least you need to find the structure of the question, how they are framing this question, what are the basic concepts they involve. You have another 60 seconds. If you know the answer, you can type your answer in the chat box also. Shall we start explanation, friends? Okay. So one kind request from my side. Suppose if you are getting correct answer, be happy. If you are not getting correct answer, you be more happy that you are learning something new which you already not aware about earlier. right? But if you're not getting correct answer, don't get demotivated by yourself, friends. Okay, these questions just we are taking for introducing numerical answer type questions. Okay, so it doesn't mean that if you don't answer this question you are not getting rank. It's not like that. Okay, so think positive way. If you are answering this question, be very happy. If you are unable to answer the question also, be very happy, because we are learning something new in the class now. Okay, see the main idea of this problem. It is a main function. We are calling function that is called get. Get is a function. By passing input is 97,531. Just imagine we are calling get function, which equals to 97,531. So the moment if I call this function, this is the value which will be stored into formal parameter. In our program, formal parameter is called n, right? So the formal parameter value n got created, which is having 97,531, right, friends? Okay, after there, of course, there are local variables. D is a local variable, t equals to 1, turn equals to 0, and new num is equals to 0. By looking at the program structure, at the end I am going to return the value which is stored in new num, right? The value which is stored into new num will be the output for this program. But the moment when you see this question, how we will get idea, that is also most important, right? Okay, this while loop says that you need to find highest power of t, which break this condition, because t is multiplied by 10 every time, right? T initially it is 1. Just look at here, t value initially it is equals to 1. It equals to 1. So whenever you check the condition n greater than or equal to t, n greater than or equal to t, so the value of n is equal to 97,531. Obviously 97,531 is greater than or equals to 1. Then we are multiplying t with 10. It means that t is equals to 1 star 10. 1 star 10. You will get result equals to 10 power 1. You don't continue that process, because in the exam time factor is most important. So once you understand that when as long as n greater than or equal to t, t is multiplied with 10 and n value equal to 97,000. So obviously what is the value of the exponent of 10 will break the value of n greater than or equal to t, means simply I can say 10 to the power of 5. If you take t value becomes 10 to the power of 5, then n value n greater than or equals to 10 to the power of 5, condition false. Condition false. Is it correct? So I can easily guess what power of value of 10 this condition will break, right? So therefore whenever this while loop condition fail, the moment while loop condition fail, the value of t becomes 10 to the power of 5, because every time it is multiplied by 10. So just keep that point in your mind. Now t value is equals to 10 to the power of 5, friends. Okay, with 10 to the power of 5 this condition fail. So afterwards you are coming out of that, you are making t is equals to t by 10, means you are updating t is equal to t by 10, that equals to 10 to the power of 4. 10 to the power of 4. What is the purpose of updating like that? The reason is here 10 to the power of 4, which is nothing but 10,000, and our input value is equals to 97,531, right? 97,531. Going forward, what they are doing, as long as the t value greater than 0, okay, right now what is the value of t? 10,000, right? If 10,000 is greater than 0, yes, it is greater than 0. It means that going forward we will decrement the value of t. Remember that point, okay? Every time we are going to decrement the value of t. Right now t is equal to 10 to the power of 4. Yes, 10 to the power of 4 greater than 0. So the moment it is greater than 0, we are getting d that equal n by 10. N by 10. So what is the value of n here? That is 97,531 by 10 to the power of 4. Of course, it is 9 times get cancelled, right? Okay, because it's 10,000 denominator, you will get this value equal to 9. It means d is a variable which is holding value is equals to 9, friends. Now I understood the concept that the purpose of this t is to extract the digit from the n. I'm asking to focus on the concept, okay, not focus on the loop, how many times it is iterating. Just what is the concept here means, yeah, the purpose of t is to extract the digit from the given n value. So therefore, we are extracting digit from the n value from left to right. So therefore, d becomes 9. D becomes 9. After d becomes 9, if you want to extract the next digit, just think logically, that is 7,531. If you want to extract the next digit, definitely the denominator value must be in terms of 1000 only, not in terms of 10,000, right? That is the reason I am reducing t is equal to t by 10. T is equal to t by 10. And by the time what is the value of n means, n is nothing but n is equals to n mod t. So what is the meaning of n mod t? After extracting 9, we are having remainder part is equals to 7531, right? How I will get 7531 means simply we can apply n is equal to n mod t. N mod t. For example, it is 97,531, right? Mod, it is nothing but mod, right? Modulus operator, which equal 10 to the power of 4. So it is 10,000, you are applying here 97531, the remainder must be equal to 7531. Now I understood complete structure of this program. Very simple. I am reading number from left to right. Every time I am extracting the digit and reducing n value is equals to remaining digits. Okay. So therefore n is equal to 7531. In order to get next digit 7, I had to reduce t by 10 to the power of 4 by 10, that equal 10 to the power of 3, like this. Okay. If I do this pattern, just look at the structure, how it is updating. By the time while loop get condition fail, as I mentioned earlier, just look at here, friends. N greater than or equal to 10 to the power of 5. Here while loop condition fail. After failure of while loop condition, t get updated. T get updated to 10 to the power of 4. Now we have to start our journey from 10 to the power of 4, which is nothing but 10,000, right? Okay, look at here. So when t is equals to 10,000, given n value before 97,539, and we are extracting the digit that equals to 9. After extracting, n value becomes 7531. Means in the exam, if you write like that, it is very easy to answer the question, friends. Okay. Usually I solve the questions in this manner. Even in the class also I solve in the table manner only, right? So n is updated, that equals 7531, right, friends? Okay. So from this, if you want to extract this value, definitely you need to update t value also, right? So therefore, if you go back to here, I am using one variable is called turn variable. Initially turn is equals to 0. Suppose if turn value is equals to 0, 0 is nothing but computer science point of view is a failure, 1 is nothing but true, right? So if the condition fail, we cannot execute immediate statement, right? If the condition false, we cannot execute immediate statement. Then we can execute subsequent statements. Turn equal to turn plus 1 mod 2. Right now turn is equal to 0, 0 plus 1 mod 2, that is nothing but 1. It means that whenever you are applying arithmetic operator, modular arithmetic operator with 2, only 2 possibilities, friends. Either remainder may be 1 or it may be 0. So I understood that turn may be either 0 or 1. Is it clear? Initially turn value how much? That is 0. Turn value is 0. So therefore, I clearly mentioned that turn before, that is 0. If turn value is 0, then what is the purpose of turn value? Means this program says that whenever turn value is equal to 0, okay, so new num is equals to 10 star, this value will not be updated. This will not be updated. Therefore, you no need to keep the digit. If turn value is 0, you no need to keep the digit. That is the meaning of the statement. Because if the turn value is 0, we cannot execute this statement. Then we can update turn value. Very simple, friends. You are extracting one digit, right? After extracting digit, you want to decide whether shall I keep that digit or not. In that case, you can take help of turn. If turn equal to 0, don't keep that digit. Ignore it. And then turn is equals to, you can update turn value. Okay, that's what I explained here. So I know it is difficult to understand this type of questions, but you know that GATE exam only for the people who practice multiple times. 10 times they have to practice, and 11th time one more time they have to practice in the exam hall. That is the only difference between rankers and normal people, right? So if you want to be a ranker, you have to see all types of model before entering the exam hall, friends. Okay, don't see new model in the exam hall. If you see new model in the exam hall, you won't be a ranker. So that is why I have taken this kind of model, friends. Okay, you might have already practiced this type of model, but let me explain one more question based on the same model. Okay, because you know last year when NEET paper is there, very easy, then this year NEET paper is very tough. Okay, last year GATE paper is very easy. Maybe this year we can expect tough paper. It is either tough or easy, doesn't matter. We have to enjoy the process, that's all. Okay, we are not preparing for GATE exam, friends. Okay, we have to learn. Learning process is important. Okay, getting rank and it doesn't matter. You have to create interest, how best you are learning. Especially nowadays, everything, all LLM models are based on mathematics only. Mathematics. That is the reason you have to develop skills with respect to mathematics, friends. Okay. So therefore, let me come to the topic. So turn before value equal to 0, because initially turn equal to 0. The moment turn equal to 0, do I need to keep that digit? What is the digit I have taken? 9. No need to keep. So therefore, ignore that. Okay, ignore that. Therefore, new num after this also 0 only. Why it is this 0? Because see, I am not updating new num, right? If turn equal to 0, we are not updating new num. Therefore, new num value remains 0 only, friends. Okay. Then afterwards, turn you have to update to turn plus 1 mod 2. This turn is updated to 1. So from this first line I clearly understand. It is extracting digit and I am taking decision, shall I keep the digit or not. How I can take decision? If turn is equal to 0, I can ignore that digit, right? So therefore, after ignoring, make turn equal to after. See afterwards, what is the t value? Just go back to here. Since it's a while loop, just observe friends, after completion of this one, it is going back to while loop, right? While loop. As t already updated t equal to t by 10. So 10 to the power of 4 earlier, 10 to the power of 4 by 10, that equal 10 cube. 10 cube, right friends? Okay. So therefore, t is updated to 10 cube. Now n before this value equals 7531 because it is updated here, right? I'm trying my level best to explain in more detail so that you can practice later time also. If they ask same question, thank God, we'll get good rank, right? So 1000, so 7531, it is extracting the leftmost digit that equal to 7. After extracting, remaining what is the value we are having? 531, because our objective is to extract the digits, friends, okay? So 531. Now turn already made it to 1 in the previous loop. If it is 1, you have to keep this digit. If it is 1, you have to keep the digit. Since you are keeping the digit, new num after 1 is equals to this value equal to d. D is equal to 7. Let me explain how it becomes 7. Turn is equal to turn plus, new num is equal to 10 into new num plus d. Right now, new num value is equal to 0, friends. 0. 10 into 0, that is 0. 0 plus d. Right now, what is the value of d? D is equals to 7. That's why it is nothing but 7. After taking 7, you have to turn is equals to turn plus 1 mod 2. Turn equal to turn plus 1 mod 2. So turn earlier it is 1, 1 plus 1 2, 2 mod 2, that equal to 0, friends. Okay. So like that, next time t is equals to 100 because every time t divided by 10. So if it is t equal 100, from 531 you are taking next digit from left to right is 5. Remainder value of n is equal to 31. Since turn is equal to 0, ignore that digit. No need to update new number. Okay. And make turn is equals to 1. Afterwards, t is equals to 10. From here you can extract digit 3, right friends, okay? Then n value after taking this one, that equals to 1. Since turn becomes 1, you have to keep that digit. What is the digit we are having? That equal to 3, right friends? But after taking the digit, why it is 73 means we are using one formula there. That formula we are using new num is equals to new num star 10 plus d. This is a statement I use, right? Okay. Earlier, what is the value of new num, friends? New num value is equal to 7. Therefore, it is 7 into 10 plus d. D indicates in that here digit which we are holding. What is the digit we are holding? 3. Therefore, which is nothing but 70 plus 3, that equal to 73. So finally, the value which is stored in the new num after is 73, friends. Okay. So if you come back to the algorithm, it will return after completion of this loop. Finally, it will return new num. So the value at new num is nothing but 73, friends. Okay. You may ask question, sir, you took a lot of time for explanation. As a student, how can I get this idea in the exam? That's what in the beginning I told you, friends. Without practicing, you are not eligible for writing GATE exam, friends. Please understand. Luck will not work in the exam. Okay. So you already practice multiple times. One more time you have to practice same problem in the exam hall. Then only you will become ranker. Getting admission IIT is not so easy. You have to do multiple times of revision. That revision problem only if they get in a question paper, you will become ranker, friends. Otherwise, every problem new to you only. You cannot manage the time. Okay. Yes. Next question. See how beautifully I designed this question. You take 1 minute and analyze. Afterwards, I'll explain. Just take time and afterwards I'll explain. So in this question, I'm taking a for loop, right? Within for loop, we are taking sum equal to sum plus f of I, friends. Okay. I hope you already answered this question. Just let me explain the solution for this problem. The first function is g of x function, which is always taking x plus the given value, where second function simply doubles the x value and calling g function, right friends? Okay, so inside main function there is a for loop which is running 2 times, I equal to 1, I equal to 2. So therefore the way of calling this function is simply, if you consider main function, when we enter the main function, there is a variable is called sum variable, which is holding value is equals to 0 friends. Okay, and also we are having I variable whose value is equals to 1. We understood that this loop is running exactly 2 times. Okay, therefore we can make a plan, run this loop 2 times. Okay, and there is a value sum is equal to 0 also. Just look at here, this printf statement is outside of the for loop friends. This type of models frequently asked in the gate paper. Means student must understand recursion under loop. Recursion under loop. Okay, so observe how it is exactly working. It is taking sum is equals to sum plus f of I. The value of I is equals to 1. Initially the value of I equal to 1. Right friends? Okay, so the moment when you call this function by passing input is 1. Okay, just you are passing the input is 1. Just you are passing the input is 1. Right friends? You are passing the input is 1. So since it is input is equals to 1, so whenever you are passing the value input is equals to 1, sorry, so you are calling function with input is 1, right friends? So that x we are getting double here, that x is getting doubled, right? So therefore you are taking return g of 2 times of x. So 2 times of x means obviously that equals to 2. It means internally it is calling another function g of 2. Okay, so g of 2 is nothing but here we are having x, return x plus 5, return x plus 5. So what is the value of x here? X is equals to 2. So 2 plus 5, that is nothing but 7, right friends? 2 7. So therefore it is giving value back that equals to 7. Now you can take the value of sum. What is the value of sum? That equals to 0. So 0 plus 7, that equals to 7. You can update here. Afterwards I value get incremented, I equal to I plus plus. So I value becomes 2. Once I equals to 2, we can also write sum is equals to sum plus f of 2, right friends? So again you are calling this function by passing x value equal to 2, that is taken as input for this one, right? That is equals to return g of 2 times of 2, that equals to 4, right? 2 times of 2, because every time it is making double, therefore 2 times of 2, that equal 4. So that 4 you are passing input here, that equal return x plus 5. So since the value of x is equals to 4, 4 plus 5, that equals to 9. So the return value will give back value here 9. Now take the value of sum. What is the value of sum here? Sum is equals to 7. So 7 plus 9, that equals to 16. Therefore sum is becomes 16. After I plus I becomes 3 friends. Okay, once I becomes 3 less than or equal to condition false. Therefore you have to come out of the for loop and you can print the sum value. So therefore it is printing printf sum, which is nothing but 16. Is it clear friends? Printf sum, that is nothing but 16. See, the main essence of this program is we combined recursive program within for loop friends. Okay, so these type of model frequently repeating the gate paper. That's the reason I have taken this question. Okay, I hope you understood. It is another way of answering the same question in the shortcut manner. Okay, just you can use g of and f of x, and you can use shortcut manner. You will get answer is 16. If you want, you can take screenshot. Okay. Clear friends? Okay. Next problem. Yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, student must understand how to pass one-dimensional array. How to pass one-dimensional array. So here I declared one-dimensional array, and also I am calling function by passing one-dimensional array. And student must understand how the index will be incremented and decremented. Okay. So please try to answer this question. Post your answer in the chat box if possible. Yeah, we don't have time now. Let me explain quickly this question. The question is very simple, friends. It is comparing two consecutive elements, a of 0 and a of 1. Okay. So if they are matching, how many times they are matching? They are counting. For example, here 0th index, first index they are matching, and first index and second index they are not matching, right? And second index, third index they are matching, and third index, fourth index they are not matching, right? And so like that, how many times they are not matching? You can simply count like this. Okay, here first time they are not matching, right? And 1 and 2, sorry, 1 and 1 they are matching. So 1 and 2 they are not matching. If they are not matching, they are adding 1 plus. If they are not matching, they are adding 1 plus. If they are matching, they are not adding any value, friends. Okay, so therefore here, since 1 and 1 matching, therefore adding value is 0 only, and 1 and 2 they are not matching with each other, therefore you are taking 1 plus. Okay, and next 2 and 2 also they are matching, that's why the written value of this one is 0. And here 2 and 3 which are not matching, therefore we can take 1. 3 and 3 are matching, and again 3 and 3 are matching. So the main idea of this program is how many times the numbers are not matching, where the numbers are two consecutive numbers. Here I explained complete processor, you can just go through it once. The function compares adjacent elements, like if a of 0 is equal to a of 1, add 0. If a of 0 not equal to a of 0, so it is a of 0 not equal to a of 1, sorry for the mistake. If a of 0 not equal to a of 1, add 1. Means if the two consecutive values are same, add 0. If the two consecutive values are not same, you can add 1. Therefore, it moves forward function a plus 1 to n minus 1. Here student must understand that how the index will be incremented here. Okay, so a plus 1 means earlier, for example, if you are having array elements like 1 1 2 2 like that, 0 1 2 3, right? 0 1 2 3. So if the initially a is pointing to 0th index, a plus 1 is pointing to next index, again a plus 1 pointing to next index, like that slowly we are incrementing the index value, friends. Okay, so it counts how many times the value changes between the consecutive elements. Okay, so as explained, first 1 versus 1 they are not matching, that's why value is 0. Okay, same means 0 and changing means 1. How many times it is changing means here it is first time, here it is second time, therefore total number of times it is changing is 2 times. Okay, total number of times it is changing is 2 times. Is it clear, friends? Okay, next question. Yeah, this question based on pointers concept. Okay, pointers concept, just put your efforts and try. What is the answer for this question? Just post your answer for this question, friends. Right, let me explain now. So here we declare p is a pointer pointing of type integer, right? So therefore the pointer p get created, and whenever we assign array name generally it is taking base address of the array. You know, array name always holds base address of the array, so that base address of the array is copied into p. As soon as point is holding base address, it is pointing to its target. Okay, its target. Afterwards, q is a pointer pointing of type integer, therefore it is holding p plus 2 value. So what does it mean, p plus 2? So p plus 2 is nothing but, p is nothing but here 100 plus 2. It is not normal arithmetic addition. In normal arithmetic addition, of course, this value is 102, but in pointer addition, this constant must be multiplied by size of the data which is residing this address. Okay, what is size of the data means? That is integer data, right? It is integer data. I have taken size of integer is 2 bytes here. If you would have taken this 4 bytes, you can multiply with 4 bytes. Okay, since I have taken 2 bytes of integer size, that's why size of integer is 2 bytes here, right friends? Okay, so p plus 2 means 100 plus 4, that equals to 104. P plus 2 value is 104. So that 104 is assigned to the pointer is called q. Therefore q is a pointer which is holding address is equals to 104. Then it is pointing to 104 location, friends. Okay, afterwards I'm asking difference between two pointers. So difference between two pointers, see, when you are talking about pointers, for example, p is a pointer and q is a pointer, then addition between two pointers, okay, addition between two pointers, or multiplication between two pointers, division between two pointers, and then modular division between two pointers, these are invalid arithmetic operations. They are invalid arithmetic operations. Only subtraction operation between two pointers are allowed, friends. Okay, so therefore q minus p indicating that q right now it is pointing to 104 and p is it pointing to 100. I hope you remember this concept. Whenever you are performing difference between two pointers, the result must be divided by the size of the data which they are holding. Clearly the data which they are holding is integer data, therefore you have to divide the size of data. The reason why I am taking this type of question is, in the exam, students are very hurried to solve the problem. Generally they are taking 104 minus 100, that equal to 4. No, it is not the correct answer. Okay, so difference between these two is equal to 4 and size of data means integer, that equal to 2 bytes, right? By dividing these two, we will get result equals to 2, right friends? Now they are asking star of q minus 1. So star of, what is q here? Q indicates that 104. 104 minus 1 again multiplied by size of the data which it is pointing. Okay, again multiplied by size of the data which is pointing. So that is nothing but star of 104 minus 2, that equal to 102. It means you are taking value at 102, friends. Okay, value at 102. So what is the value at 102? That is nothing but 20. So therefore the output for this program is 2 comma 20. It is a trap question. Most of the students, they are thinking answer is 4. 4 is not correct answer. It is a 2 comma 20. The question is simple question only, but a trap is there. Definitely many students under trap in this question, friends. Okay, because under pressure it is not easy to get idea that difference between two pointers must be divided by the size of the pointer, right? Okay, or size of the data. Yeah, we have limited amount of time, so I'll show the questions which I collected. If you want, you can take the snapshot, okay, and you can work on that. If you have any doubts, you can also contact me. Okay, you have contact number and you can simply message to me so that I can help you. Okay, the next question, you please practice this question. This is also same model, passing one dimensional array, right? And we are receiving that value and we are calling function recursively. This type of model they are frequently asking, friends. Okay, just take snapshot and do practice for this question. Hope you have taken, right? Yeah, this is a multiple select question. You first prepare by yourself and find what is the correct answer for this question, friends. Okay, it's a multiple select question. More than one answer is possible. Yeah, after having snapshot, next question. So it is also multiple select question. You please read number of times and do it properly. Next question. I prepared many questions, but this 1 hour session, obviously for motivating the students towards the examination pattern. So that is the reason I discuss only few questions. You practice them, you'll get clear idea. In this question, I introduce some basic operation like size of operator, how to make pointer comparisons. Okay. This is the most important question. This is what I explained in the beginning. While passing string constant, student must understand what indirectly he is passing. Obviously, string constant always passing base address. We already covered this type of models many times in the exam, in the classroom also. You do practice this kind of questions, friends. Okay. The next question. This is also based on pointer to string. It's a very beautiful question we prepared. You please practice this question also. Yeah, that's all about programming languages. Most important areas are there. It is a small topic, but you will score minimum 5 marks from this topic, friends. Okay. Thanks for giving the opportunity. Okay. Prepare well. Wish you all the best, and I wish you very happy New Year. Advance happy New Year to you, every one of you. Okay. Thank you for giving the opportunity.